Okay, Kevin, you ready? Go ahead, take it out.
You want me to read it?
I do. I want you to. There
Ladies and gentlemen, the 2013 Marion County Teacher of the Year from Howard Middle School, Tim Jones. It's a life-changing moment for this young teacher who now represents all Marion County teachers as the top teacher in our district. Hello and welcome to the Classroom Connection, the show that takes you inside Marion County Public Schools. I'm Kevin Christian, and on today's show we focus entirely on teachers, our Golden Apple teachers, and our Rookie Teacher of the Year. But let's get to know Marion County's Teacher of the Year first. Tim Jones teaches Ancient Civilizations and Civics at Howard Middle School here in Ocala. He's been teaching for 6 years, all of it right here in Marion County. And his passion for teaching is evident, as you'll see in this story prepared by Joel Hartley.
For the second consecutive year, Howard Middle School is home to the Teacher of the Year. You might think having Melissa Boombach as a resource would have helped Tim Jones in the selection process, but he actually avoided using her until it was all over.
I didn't rely on her at all because she was a judge. And I would never put somebody in that position, even though, I have a great working relationship with Ms. Boombach, and she's a fantastic person, and she would have been a great resource, I mean, obviously, but I would never have crossed that line as far as having a judge help me. However, after the Golden Apples were decided, and she was my mentor Golden Apple for the speech, she was inspirational. I had never given a speech before. I'd given plenty of lectures, I've been up in front of a classroom, but I've never given an actual speech. So I was approaching this as something very formal, and I was like, thank you very much for selecting me. And she said, you need to be you. You need to be the person we saw in an interview process and just talk. She's like, don't be so scripted.
That's perfect, because his class is anything but scripted.
My class is rarely in their seats. They're rarely quiet. They are usually up, moving around, discussing. My room's set up for groups. They work within groups. They do research. They build. They meet with each other. They discuss. I facilitate throughout the process. But in the end, there's a creative product that comes out. Who's gonna do the opening statements?
Spencer.
Okay. Now, I constantly circulate around. I probably have shed pounds walking around this classroom, but I'm constantly going around the room and sticking my nose into their business. But it's one thing to make sure they're on task, because they are kids, and you got to make sure they're still doing that. If I see 2 or 3 students turn around and look at me at once, I know they're doing something they're not supposed to be doing. So I've become an expert at reading students, for sure. But don't forget about the filibuster, though. I mean, because, yeah.
That kind of instruction might not work with all students, but Jones benefits from being part of Howard's IB program.
I teach very, very highly motivated, high-achieving, high-level students. With these students, I can give them what I want, and then I can give them the instructions, and I can trust their independence in the classroom, because they really are driven students, and I'm a spoiled teacher.
But even the best students have to be interested in the subject matter.
I approach every lesson with, why should they care? Why does this matter to them? Civics, I think, sometimes is a little bit harder to engage as like Ancient Civilizations. Ancient Civilizations has war, it's got, all kinds of really cool stuff involved with it. And civics does too, but I feel like you have to, if you bring the relevance out to the students in their life, I think that they say, okay, this isn't just a bunch of founding fathers in these wigs writing on these documents. What they did has a true influence on my life, and that is my job as a teacher to show that relationship.
The selection as and presentation of a Golden Apple is supposed to be a surprise, but Jones had a hint he might be getting a visit to his classroom.
Mr. Hensel had called my wife, and because they have the families come in. He didn't get a hold of her, so he left her a message, but it was a very cryptic message almost. It said, this is Mr. Hensel from Howard Middle School. I need to speak to you about Tim. She has no idea about the Golden Apple process. What's she thinking? Emergency, emergency, emergency. And so she did something that she never does, she never texts, but she texted me, and it said, are you okay? And I said, yes, I'm fine. But right then, I was like, hey, they have family involved in the Golden Apple process. Why would my principal be contacting my wife? And she tried to come up with this cover story. You know, God bless her, but it just was not great. And so I could have, when I got home that night, I could have probably gotten it out of her, but I wanted to respect the fact that she was supposed to keep a secret, which is really, really close to impossible for her. So I did not pry.
Tim now joins us here in our studio. Tim, congratulations, Teacher of the Year. What an honor.
It is. Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here.
You're sitting in that front row. Fortunately, I was the one who got to announce your name. What went through your mind?
Well, just stunned disbelief and shock. It was really just, and I say it's a surreal moment. I wasn't bold enough to say I'm going to win this thing, you know. I mean, and the competition and my fellow Golden Apples were just incredible people and incredible educators. So it was really stunned disbelief is the best description for that, I would say.
What do you remember from that night? You remember all
After
of it?
the announcement, after the announcement, it was truly a whirlwind. It was, you know, going to pose in front of the car and posing with people for pictures, and it was really an awesome moment, top 5 moment in my life for sure. But what I remember about the whole evening is how the foundation, the Public Education Foundation, and the business partners really went out of their way to present an awesome evening to honor Marion educators.
It really is a beautiful event and elegant at the same time.
Oh, for sure.
But this year, you've already mentioned it, you got a brand new car to keep forever.
Yes, I know.
What's that like?
Well, when I picked it up from the dealership and I was in it, my wife was like, I feel like we're in a rental car. It's like, because yesterday we didn't have the car, and today, well, hey, you have a new car. Just like that, without going through the process of looking for one and researching and haggling with, you know, somebody over a price. It was, here's your car. So it was awesome. It was a pretty cool thing. Yeah, definitely.
How has work changed since you became Marion County's Teacher of the Year? Or has it?
I don't think that work has changed. My coworkers are very, very supportive people, and they were, you know, of course, behind me 100% through the whole process. They kept saying things like, "I can smell that new car smell already." So, you know, they were just very proud of me, and they still go out of their way to congratulate me, and it feels great.
Sure. What about life in general?
Well, I feel busier.
You are busier.
I definitely feel busier. But as far as life in general, I was stopped in Publix by somebody, which that was neat. That was pretty cool. And saying that he saw my picture in the paper. And at the local coffee shop I go to, they gave me a nice round of applause when I walked in there.
They haven't named a coffee after you yet?
Ooh, they should.
See,
it has to be like a really
about.
bold espresso, because that's what I drink. So.
I have no doubt about that. The energy level is something else in your classroom. I've been there, not just on the Caravan Day, but when you've held other events. You know, what are your kids saying? I mean, their teacher is not just Howard Middle School's Teacher of the Year. He is Marion County's Teacher of the Year.
Well, my students, well, some of them said, well, we knew all along that you're going to win. You know you're going to be the winner. They had a lot of confidence in me. But of course, they only see me. They didn't see the other teachers that were included in that final group. And well, I wouldn't have even won if it wasn't for my students. My students are the primary reason I believe that I'm able to achieve what I have achieved as a teacher. I have a great set of students that I teach. And so without them, it wouldn't have even been possible at all.
How do you think this is going to lend to their education? I mean, there's some bragging rights built in. Hey, my teacher's Teacher of the Year. But it goes deeper than that.
Well, I think that, you know, through the whole process, I've been able to model to them in a way, like I discuss portfolios with them and the importance of getting a portfolio. We actually work on portfolios in our class anyway. But then we talk about these people coming into the room and how, you know, what their role is in the process and what the student's role is in the process. So they felt like they're part of something, I believe. And but as far as, you know, changing I just think they felt like they're part of the process.
And they're proud of you.
They are they are. They're extremely proud of me.
Absolutely.
They, of course, are always asking, when can we go for a ride in your car? And I'll be 16 in a few years. Don't you think that it'd be a great gift for me? You know. So.
And your answer is, no.
Yeah, exactly.
No. A year from now, what do you want to look back on, and what do you want this experience? What do you want to remember about this whole experience?
That's a good question. What do I want to remember? I want to remember that that, well, the group that I came from within Marian Educators is a fantastic group, and that I should feel honored to be a part of that group. That the Marian Educators that I associate with on a daily basis are just incredible people and incredible love and are passionate about their job. And for me to be selected out of that group is a humbling experience, for one thing. I walk past doors every day of teachers that could easily be where I am as far as Teacher of the Year. And so I just like, I like to keep that in perspective, that these are, I work around a group of professionals.
Well said, and humility is always a good thing.
Right?
What do you want the community, let me back up. There's a lot of people that criticize public education, that say our education system is not what it should be. And no doubt we have some issues that we deal with, but you see it firsthand. You see what students are like. You know what the teaching profession is about. How do you respond to those critics?
Well, when you're looking at something as huge as public education, which is this massive sphere of the public sector, of course you're going to find kinks in there. And we wouldn't be doing it a service if we didn't look for issues within it that we can address. But a lot of it is not very well-grounded or reasoned criticism. And I think it comes from people that perhaps have never really set foot into a classroom and aren't dealing with the realities that teachers deal with. The teachers that I'm in contact with and the teachers that I've grown up around, coming from a family with educators in it, are passionate teachers, and they love what they do. We love the students, and we dedicate our lives to improving their lives and to making them good citizens and part of our community and our country. And I think that a lot of times the people that provide the criticism within that, they don't see the effort that we put into it. And I think a lot of times it goes back to them trying to broad brush a lot of the students and broad brush a lot of the teachers.
It's effort that pays off, and obviously you do it well, and you put a lot of time and effort into those efforts.
No doubt, and we all do. All the teachers do. It never ends at the door. It really never does. And most teachers, it's always on. We're always thinking about what we're going to be working on. We're always planning. We're always working on something that's related to what we do at school.
Tim, congratulations.
Oh, thanks.
2013 Marion County Teacher of the Year. What an honor.
It is.
It's great to have you here with us today.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Well, 4 other teachers also received Golden Apple for their classroom efforts. They all spoke at the Golden Apple Gala as well. Over the next few minutes, we want you to meet each of these inspiring leaders who are truly making an impact on their students and this community. Once again, here's Joel Hartley.
So this will be easy?
I think this is going to be quite easy for you.
Yay!
28 years in the classroom has taught Dana Andrews as much, if not more, than 4 years of college.
You know, they don't teach you in college classroom management. It is just a kind of on-the-job training. So I was fortunate to have one of my administrators set up a video series called Assertive Discipline. And so when the children misbehave, they write their name on the board. And when they misbehave again, they get a check, and there's a consequence. And they misbehave again, there's a check. And I found early on that it was kind of a big deal for the kids to write their name on the board, even though it was a negative consequence. You know, writing on the board, a teacher's board. So their names got to be really big and dramatic, and the checks got bigger. So I modified it to where their names started on the board. That's where you want to be. You want to be up on the board, your name being seen.
She's seen a lot of changes in that time, not so much in what is taught, but when it's taught.
The curriculum hasn't really changed. I would say the expectations have. How many more do you need to make 10? Honestly, what I'm teaching now, 27 years later, is what I taught in first grade. I mean, the curriculum has advanced so much, and it used to be that, gosh, they came in and they didn't know it, and when they leave, they do. You know, they can do it now. Whereas by second grade, they can do everything. They just do it better when they leave in second grade. Well, that's how it was for me. So I love still having that. They can't do it, and now they can do it. Look how many apples that you have. I want to know how many more you would need to make 10.
Selection as a Golden Apple is a reward, but also a bit of a sentence. Members of the Golden Apple Academy stay quite busy, mentoring, guiding, and even just facilitating for other teachers. And it comes at a perfect time for Andrews.
I've just entered in January an empty nest phase where both of my kids have left the house, and it's like, I need something to do, and now I have something to do.
She may have an empty nest at home, but not at school.
I never leave the mommy phase, and I get called it constantly in the classroom too, which is just absolutely fine. So yeah, I'm lucky in that response that I don't have to miss them being so small, because I have the pitter-patter of little feet all day long in my classroom.
Andrews is the second consecutive Golden Apple from Shady Hill. Proof they're doing something right.
I would attribute it to the morale. I mean, it is a community of teachers who love what they do, support of our administrators. I mean, even though our administration has changed 3 or 4 people between last year and this year, but that everybody has the same goal in sight. What's interesting is last year's has been a teacher for like 4 or 5 years, and then me with 27 years. So it's really a wide spectrum of teachers at this community that that really love what we do, and it shows.
See how that's about 8.0? 8.0 right there on the bottom of that meniscus.
Among the Golden Apple teachers, Dunellen High's Bob Ayton truly is one of a kind, the only person to twice be visited by the Surprise Caravan, first as the Rookie Teacher of the Year in 2007, and now as a Golden Apple winner.
Yeah, it was about 5 years ago that they walked into my classroom, and it was a similar process. My kids were a lot older, and I guess I was a little bit older too, but it was just as much of a highlight. To spend that time with your family, your friends at school, the people you teach on a daily basis, there's no better feeling than to share it with the people that really deserve the credit in the whole process.
Ayton's path from a lab in Philly to a classroom in Marion County almost sounds meant to be.
I was in the pharmaceutical industry, and I was with a small, lucrative company where I was the second and third highest person in that company, being a lab manager and producing drugs that would go on to save lives. But I felt called by God to go into teaching and affect kids' lives real time, one-on-one. I never met anyone that used the drugs that would go on to save their lives, but I've met a lot of students that said I've changed their lives. If I would go into teaching in Philadelphia, I would have had to leave my job and go in and take teaching classes for 2 years straight in order to just get in that classroom. And I felt like I was prepared to be in that classroom with my real-world experience and my work ethic. And I knew that I had a gift of teaching, I had a passion to teach, and all Marion County gave me the opportunity to be able to do that.
Ayton thinks what sets him apart is his approach. He doesn't teach the students, he lets them teach themselves.
Okay.
So we didn't mess up completely?
You didn't mess up at all.
Oh, okay.
If you're having to do it by endpoint, you guys did it perfectly. Rather than a sage on the stage relationship, it's more of a guide on the side. It's a facilitator. They see me as a facilitator of learning. Someone that is going to challenge them, that is going to propel them, that is going to question them, that is going to make them think and critically think, problem solve, not just regurgitate information to me. I want to know, do they know it? Do they understand it? Do they love it?
One thing they love is the unpredictability of Ayton's classroom. Any scientist will tell you experiments, by their very nature, don't always go according to plan. As a matter of fact, the very day he was presented his Golden Apple, an experiment that should have gone like this ended up more like this.
If I could count how many times I've come home in a different pair of pants that I've set on fire or spilled some acid on, and those things will happen as long as you take the correct safety procedures in place there. Some things are not going to be perfect there. Hey, Jesse.
Yes, sir.
See that pH meter?
Yes, sir.
You actually have to take that thing off in order for it to work.
What?
You never told us that.
Unscrew cap before inserting
But that's what makes it enjoyable. That's what makes it learning. It's that every problem doesn't come out to be a total perfect success, 100% success rate, right? And you're like, that didn't do anything. That didn't do anything. It's that when something goes wrong or something happens, well, why did that happen? That's just a whole nother learning experience there for the student and for myself even.
Your group should have all your roles, okay? Make sure you have your badges on. Was bell work.
Lots of teachers break their class up into study groups, but Horizon Academy's Judith Dominguez takes it a step further towards the real world.
I made it different by wear a badge because I wear a badge here. In many jobs, you wear it's your name tag and sometimes what do you do and you know where to go to. So that lets me know who am I calling? Who am I going to go to? And in the group, they know who's the leader, who's the materials manager, who collects the data, who's the timekeeper, and they know that that's their responsibility.
And Dominguez is big on responsibility.
In my classroom, besides teaching my content, which is physical science, I focus on getting them ready for high school. So responsibility, respect, accountability. I treat them like 9th graders, and if I treat them like that, they behave like that. So they take their own learning as their own, not me telling them what to do. We work together. We laugh together. We make mistakes together.
It's that relationship that's her favorite thing about being a teacher.
Oh my gosh, the kids. Just a relationship with the kids. I love teaching. I have a language arts background. I taught 5th grade, 3rd grade, high school. I teach science, and I love any subject. I'll teach it. It's a relationship with them. It's what I get at the end, the reward. The faces of, oh, now I get it.
Children go through so much now, some teachers might be inclined to cut them some slack based on their home life. Not Dominguez. Her mother left when she was a child. Her father passed away just before she graduated college. Her husband has twice been deployed to Afghanistan. She's sympathetic, but not soft.
They know that I don't accept excuses. That way I have a poster, excuse limit 0, because I know what it is to grow up in that environment too, coming from a divorced household. No excuses, but they know that I care about them. I'm increasing that energy, and then I can, wow, everything right there, very good. I think the most rewarding part is to make a difference in those students' lives that might be missing something. A mom, cancer at home, a dad. Those are the kids that make my day, that make my year. I do everything and I enjoy everything with them, but when I can touch a kid, when I can touch their hearts, I have it done. I have it made.
Get the groove, boys. Shake your groove thing.
PE teachers in video games have long been mortal enemies, but Dr. N.H. Jones Elementary's Karen Morrison has found a common ground, using a Wii to promote physical activity.
What I eventually want to do is let teachers, classroom teachers, check it out and have like a little movement break in their classrooms. Kids that have done a really good job in the class can take a little movement break and see if it enhances their learning in the classroom.
You might wonder how getting kids worked up and excited can be anything but detrimental to education, but you might be surprised.
All the research says that what we do, getting the blood moving, using both sides, cross-brain activities, enables them to learn in the classroom much better. If they sit all day or physical education is taken away from a student to help them remediate in areas, a child tends to rebel. We all want to get outside and move, and all the research says that it creates more brain synapses, more growth in our brain, so that we can become better learners. So I think that a lot of people don't realize that we're not just out there saying 20 push-ups or 10 sit-ups, or we're getting kids actively enjoying what they're doing, and through what they do, we can create all kinds of connections to reading. We talk about history of different sports that we play. We do mathematical things where they're adding scores or measuring distances of a ball thrown or a distance that they've jumped. So we interconnect with a lot of different areas. Do you even realize you're exercising? When you have the music going up, you can feel your heart pounding and your breath getting really fast. We had one time where we were doing the Macarena dance, and they were doing their multiplication facts while they were doing the movements to the dance, and it was amazing how much quicker they were learning it. My biggest dream is to somehow get kids to do an activity for like 6 to 7 minutes before the FCAT and do a study and see the kids that haven't exercised that come in against the kids that have exercised, and see if we see some improved test results doing that.
Morrison isn't the greatest athlete ever, and her willingness to fail in front of her students might teach them the greatest lesson: to try.
I can never get out. I'll demonstrate and show them all the time. Whoops, Mrs. Morrison can't do this. You know, I can talk you through, but I'm not an expert at anything, but I'm willing to try anything. And I think that children, when they see that you're able to do that, they're willing to step out and try anything.
Each Golden Apple teacher receives a special Golden Apple lapel pin conceived and created by Goss & Son Jewelers right here in Ocala. As the name implies, rookie teachers are new. They have no more than 3 years of classroom teaching experience. 2013's Rookie Teacher of the Year is Randy Hauk from Bellevue Middle School. He's taught language arts there for the past 2 years, his entire teaching career. As Joel Hartley shows us, Mr. Hauk's presence is making a huge difference in the lives of his students.
Every day, these restless hands work hard to put food on our table, and I don't mind about my dad.
A journalism major in college who really didn't like school as a middle schooler, Bellevue Middle's Randy Hauk decided to do for others what he wishes had been done for him.
I thought about how I felt when I was in school, and I thought about all of the kids that are probably still sitting in classrooms with their heads down or that are drawing on paper as they're working. And I thought I need to reach out to them and help them kind of find themselves, find what they're really interested in. And a lot of them have that hidden talent, that hidden creativity that they're not aware of, and I want them to find that.
But how do you make language arts interesting? It isn't like you can blow something up like Bob Ayton does in his chemistry class. The trick is to make it relevant.
I try to get them up and out of their seats and get them talking to each other and relate things to their life. Because when we learn about something or we do something in class that has no relevance for them, they're instantly turned off and they aren't excited and they kind of shut down. If it's something that's going on in their life, they're automatically interested. And again, that's how I felt when I was in school. A lot of things I felt like I was just doing just because the teacher liked it. I try to do things that they enjoy, but that also are relevant to school and relevant to helping them achieve their academic goals. Everything here is about skateboarding. They obviously wanted to talk about skateboarding. That's the thing that they were most interested in writing about. I try to change the traditional kind of idea of book reports and different things that we do in class to update them to a more modern feel. We do a character profile page. They basically take a character from a book and create almost like a Facebook or a Twitter for the character, and they love it. It's something that they can relate to and that they're familiar with, so they're instantly excited about that.
Hauk even used the broadcast of the Golden Apple Gala as a way to get his students engaged and writing.
Why would anyone put themselves through all of this torture and become a teacher? Isn't it obvious? We do it for the money, right?
Finally, he has some advice to his fellow rookie teachers.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be a struggle. College can't prepare you for everything that you're going to face as a teacher. My advice would be stay positive and don't give up. Find someone that can help you through those tough days because you're going to have them. Not every lesson is going to work. Not every student is going to like you right off the bat, but stick with it. Talk to someone about what's going on. See if you can get some guidance from a veteran teacher. I wouldn't have survived my first 2 years if it wasn't for the teachers at Bellevue Middle School or any other teachers that I talked to. You need to seek help because it's going to be tough, but in the end, it's absolutely worth it.
Congratulations again to our 2013 Marion County Rookie Teacher of the Year, Mr. Randy Hauk from Bellevue Middle School. He is a former teacher, administrator, and now leads our entire school district. He, of course, is Superintendent George Tommen, and he's sharing some important information with us now in this month's Superintendent Spotlight.
I'm here at Howard Middle School, home of Marion County's Golden Apple Teacher of the Year, Mr. Tim Jones. Mr. Jones teaches social studies here at our middle school magnet program, Howard Middle School. I wish that I had had someone like him when I was a teacher in school. And actually, I did have a number of teachers like him. Tim is a representative of a group of teachers that we have in Marion County, and we have a fine group of teachers here in our wonderful school system. If you have not had an opportunity to view the Golden Apple ceremony on our closed circuit television station, we'd love to invite you to do that at some point in time. Congratulations again to Tim Jones, Marion County's Teacher of the Year. Parents, you'll be happy to know that our school staff and our school board continue to place safety of our students and employees as our #1 priority right now. Our school system is investigating a number of new programs that we can institute, as well as continuing to practice all the variety of things that we already do that are spelled out in our well thought out and well defined emergency preparedness plan. And finally, a note to our students, don't forget, FCAT is right around the corner. We're excited about the work that our teachers are doing with you to prepare you for FCAT, for end-of-course exams. This is a stressful time for many people, but I'm confident that our teachers have done a good job preparing our students. Our parents have done a great job supporting their children, and I'm convinced that our students will do fantastic work. Good luck to all, and we'll see you on our next edition.
Thank you, Mr. Tommen, and thank you for watching today. We appreciate your time and hope to see you again right here next month when we introduce our school-related Employee of the Year to you. Until then, parents, remember, be there for your child every day.